Modern JavaScript or ECMAScript 6, we have few more other programming features which we will discuss now. So what we discussed earlier is about this keyword and the problem with this keyword. So let's go into our demo machine, and then if we have this and run the code, it will show you the object where this function is available. By calling this, you get into that object and it populates that the detail. However, in JavaScript we can also assign a function as a variable. So if I say func equals to employee dot programming skill, and this time I'm not going to pass any argument, and then I hide this line and run this. And if I run this thing, you see that there is nothing happening because I did not call it. So let me first call it, and to call I'll say func pass on this, and then if I run the code, it will show you some problem. There is some problem because now it is unable to find that's what the gist of all those details is about, right? Because in JavaScript, by the word this means if you, let's say, define call a function from an object, right, like this, it'll pick up this as this object. If you say something like this and then call it later point in time, the context is outside. Now this means the window object. There is no window object at this point. That's a confusion. Now to avoid this kind of problem, right, in the scenario where you basically have this and you say bind and you pass on the employee object. If you run this, you see both the thing showing you the same output, right? The first one and the last one, just to show you the output of the second one by commenting out the first one, it shows you exactly the way. So there is no problem right now at this point in time if you bind the function. And this is what you will be observing quite a lot in the context of React, where they're binding the object so that you can call it later point in time. This is now a variable and you can call it any point in time later. Is not getting executed. So just in case you capture the local time here, right, current date and time, you will find that current date and time will keep changing. If you call a function like this and you put a constant output equal to, it basically immediately will get executed at line number 8 and then store the value in the output, and then it's not an object. This is an object, right? And this is just the output of the function. So that's the difference here, right? So you can see that this is something which you might want to observe it later point in time. Now, one of the things I wanted to also show you is that arrow function, which is one of the best things in ES6, called arrow function. So if you imagine that you have a function, okay, say const hello, that's the name of the variable, and then I have a function, and in that I have a console.log which says nothing but hello. Okay, that's the function I'm writing. And then what I can do, I can say hello, and let's see what happens if I call the hello just like that. Nothing. If I run it like this, then it says hello because it's a function. Okay, so you can see that the function comes up as an output with hello, right? And it is showing me something like that. Now in ES6 you can get rid of this and you can actually pass on something like this, okay, and you can actually replace this with an arrow, and that becomes an arrow function. Now since we do not have any parameter, we can pass no parameter by putting these braces. If we have a parameter like num, okay, and then we can return the output of the num. So let's say num plus 2. So whatever the value is of the output, it will return something like that. Now if you have something like a single liner, you don't even need this, so it becomes like that. So you have got num plus 2, let me put it this, and it returns the output like without return keyword. So you have a num, and then you will return the num plus 2. It becomes quite simple in the context. So if you pass on 3 and you run this code, it will give you the output 5, right? So you're not printing anything, so you don't know what exactly it is. So if I put, let's say, log, and I just put this here over there, and console. So I've got too many logs. Okay, now if I say this, you get the output 5 printed. Okay, because now I have a log, right? So what I wanted to say is that instead of you putting function and the parameter and then a curly braces and write couple of lines, you can come up with this simple form of arrow function by replacing function with the arrow, and it looks single liner like a predicate. Now to give you an example, right, if I put this array, and if I have to, let's say, figure out what are the even numbers of that array, I can loop through each of the elements of this array and then do the calculation and put it in a new array. And I can also do something like arrow function. So let's see how can I do that. So let's create a new variable, const even equals to, and I say nums dot filter. So if I say filter in the nums, and then in that filter, what basically you are doing, you're gonna go ahead and declare a function which will take the variable, each individual element will become variable, and then it will return true or false based on the calculation from num dot num module 2 equals 0. So what I am trying to do is that I'm trying to calculate divided by 2 the percent signs in mod, so that whatever the remainder is, if it is 0, then it is even, otherwise it is odd. That's the calculation I'm doing for each of the element, and it will return me a list of even numbers. If I, let's say, print them out in the console log, let's say events, you will find all of them showing up in the list. So you see num 2, 4, and 6, they are all even number. Just in case I increase that to another num as 8, it'll have another in my output list as 8 also, because 8 is an even number. Now that's the output here. Now we can make it a very simple, let's say, arrow function. So we get rid of this num, we replace this function with arrow, and then because it is a single line, I can get rid of this return, okay, and then I can finish it off over here. I don't need the semicolon at the end of this, because this is understood that it will be end by this. Now this will also give me the same output. Now this is the arrow function, and this really is quite in use in many JavaScript applications today. The arrow function, you'll often encounter this arrow function while you try to build this thing. All right, so thank you very much and have a wonderful day.